The sun hangs low, casting long shadows over the dry land. Two figures move through the dust, hands searching through discarded scraps, eyes scanning for anything to quiet the growling in their stomachs. Their clothes hang loose, torn at the edges, thin fabric barely shielding them from the biting wind. Small hands grasp half-eaten fruits, wiping away flies before biting into what little remains. Laughter comes in short bursts. Hunger may dull the body, but it has not yet stolen their spirits. A pair of tired eyes watches from a distance, following every step, every stumble. Feet shuffle against the cracked earth, hesitant to move forward, unwilling to call them home to an empty pot. They do not know the weight pressing down on his chest, the silent calculations, the debts too heavy to count. They do not hear the whispers, mocking, judging, pitying. A man with nothing, a man who cannot feed his own blood. Fingers press against a forehead damp with sweat. The walls behind him offer no comfort, the air thick with quiet shame. A man with no food, no coin, no way forward. The market will not lend, the neighbors have nothing to give, and the village speaks of him in hushed tones. The debt collectors will return soon. This time, they will not leave with only threats. Boots crunch against the dry ground, heavy steps breaking the stillness. A sleek, black shape rolls into view, an unnatural sight against the rough roads and thatched roofs. It moves slow, deliberate, polished metal catching the last light of the day. The wheels stop. The dust settles. A door swings open, smooth and soundless. A figure steps out, tall and straight, dressed in dark cloth finer than anything this land has known. A slow glance sweeps across the village, eyes lingering on the empty stalls, the watching faces, the children who pause their play to stare. The figure turns, gaze landing on the hunched man outside his home. He walks forward, measured steps, as if time bends to his will. Then a voice, low, steady, and laced with something that does not belong here. "I'll take your daughters for $1. Silence swallows the village whole. A sharp intake of breath, a throat clearing. Surely the words were heard wrong. A trade of blood for nothing. It is a joke, a cruel one. But the man in the dark suit does not smile. His hand dips into his pocket, and a single coin flashes in the fading light. The answer should be easy. The outrage should rise. Hands should wave him away. Voice should shout that children are not cattle, but the voice does not come. The throat is dry, the stomach is empty, and the weight of tomorrow is heavier than pride. Two small figures appear in the distance, feet kicking up dust, laughter bubbling from lips that have forgotten the taste of full meals. They are still whole, still untouched by the sharp claws of the world. But for how long? A coin glints in an outstretched hand. A pulse beats loud in trembling ears. A nod, a whisper, a life changed in an instant. The footsteps grow closer, their voices bright, unaware. They do not know that the ground beneath them has shifted, that the future has been rewritten in silence. Laughter fills the air as they walk home, their arms swinging, dust curling around bare feet. They chatter about things that do not matter, about small joys and foolish dreams. Their father stands still, watching. The laughter fades as the doors open. A moment of hesitation, a glance backward, a question forming but never spoken. The car swallows them whole. The door closes, the engine hums. The black shape rolls forward, taking with it innocence, trust, the last of what was pure. The figures in the distance grow smaller, eyes wide with confusion, searching for answers they will never receive. A man stands alone, a single coin burning in his palm. The wind howls through the empty village, carrying whispers that will never leave. The dust settles once more. The world does not stop. The market will open in the morning. The sun will rise, and the village will speak, will murmur, will remember. But the laughter of two little girls will never echo through these streets again. Silk sheets press against restless skin. The air is thick with perfume, rich and strange. Eyes blink open, adjusting to the golden glow of curtains swaying in silence. This is not home. The walls are too smooth, the ceiling too high. The last memory was laughter on the dusty road. Now, everything is wrong. The door swings open. A woman steps inside, her robes embroidered with gold. Her voice cuts like a blade. "Get up. You belong to Mr. Obaid now." Feet touch the cold floor. There is no time to ask questions. The woman does not wait. Down the halls, past polished vases and flickering lamps. Silence follows like a shadow. Servants bow but never lift their eyes. Whispers cling to the air, soft as footsteps, heavy with warning. A grand table stretches before them, piled with meats, fruits, and steaming bowls. A man sits at the head, watching. His gaze is not warm. He does not speak of welcome. Every glance is measured, every movement slow, deliberate. Far away, a man sits alone in the quiet of his village. His hands grip a single coin. The wind stirs the dust at his feet. He sees their faces in the flames of his small fire, but he looks away. They will live better than I ever could. Behind locked doors, voices murmur. A door handle rattles. Eyes meet in the dark. Something is not right. The house is grand, but fear lingers in its corners. There are too many locked doors, too many hushed glances. Footsteps echo past midnight. Bare feet move soundlessly to the door. An ear presses against the wood. A whisper, urgent, trembling. The ceremony is in 3 days. Everything must be prepared. A breath catches in a throat. A heartbeat quickens. The whisper fades, but its weight remains. Ceremony. The word is sharp, unfamiliar, edged with something cold. What ceremony? And why did the voice sound so afraid? White fabric clings to trembling hands. The woman in fine robes tightens the sash. It is time. No comfort, no kindness. Only the weight of fate pressing down. Steps echo against the stone. A passage spirals downward. Air thick with the scent of burning oil. Shadows twist and dance on ancient carvings. Silence swallows every breath. At the bottom, firelight flickers over hooded figures. The circle remains unbroken. Still, waiting. The man at the center steps forward, his voice steady. Twins are rare gifts. One of you must die, the other will take my place. A gasp, a shudder. The golden dagger gleams atop the altar, untouched but heavy with meaning. The fire behind it crackles, waiting to consume. Hands tighten, a heartbeat thunders. No! The whisper barely escapes. A single step back. No! Louder now. The word shakes, but it stands. A sudden movement. Fingers close around the hilt. Fire reflects off the blade as it lifts. We are not your sacrifices. A rush of movement. Arms seize from both sides, iron-tight grips locking in place. The dagger is wrenched away. A voice sighs in disappointment. Courage is useless here. Far away, a man tosses on a straw mat. The wind carries whispers of regret. Eyes squeeze shut, but the darkness behind them is worse. Did I just send them to their deaths? A decision hardens. Feet find the ground. A bag of coins shifts from one hand to another. Tell me where they are. Back in the chamber, minds race. Breaths quicken. One must fall, unless we become each other. A glance, a silent question, a single nod. The circle tightens. A murmur rises, voices weaving into a chant. The dagger is lifted once more. The moment of decision has come. Drums pounded, their deep echoes vibrating through the stone floor. 2 figures, veils concealing their faces, stepped forward, their hands bound. The air thickened with the scent of burning oils, shadows dancing around them as the rhythmic chants of the robed figures rose in unison. The ritual had begun. Hands stretched wide, the master of the ceremony signaled for silence. The voices fell away, leaving only the crackling of the flames. The decree was final. The choice was made. The sacrifice would be given. A priest stepped forth, lifting the ceremonial dagger high. The blade shimmered under the flickering torchlight, its edge honed for one purpose. Time held its breath. The chants resumed, louder, faster, pulsing with urgency. The first blow came like lightning, a silver glint, a blur of motion. The dagger did not fall where it was intended. Instead, a smaller blade, hidden in the folds of a sleeve, found its mark. A sharp gasp, a body lurching backward. Warm blood seeped through silk robes. A sharp cry cut through the chamber. Guards lunged forward, their weapons drawn. Fear and confusion rippled through the assembled figures. The wounded man staggered, pressing a hand to his side, crimson staining his fingers. But his laughter rang out, hollow and chilling. A slow, deliberate turn of the head, a knowing smile. The sacrifice was never needed, only a willing heir. The words coiled through the air, heavy with meaning. Eyes darted toward the altar. The master of the ceremony barely stood, but his voice held power. She who strikes first inherits my throne. A swift movement. Rough hands seized the attacker's arms, dragging them down, forcing them to kneel. Resistance was futile. The weight of fate bore down, sinking deep into the bones. A priest stepped closer to the remaining figure. By ancient law, the mistress has been chosen. The estate is yours. The chamber fell into an eerie stillness. The chosen one's breath came short, sharp. 1,000 unspoken words filled the space between the veils. One glance, heavy with meaning, was all that passed between them. A silent question, a final plea. The moment stretched, unbroken. The choice had been given. The power was now hers to wield. The grand chair looms beneath her, the weight of its power pressing down. Voices surround her, measured and firm. You speak for him now. Eyes watch, testing, waiting. A single nod seals the fate written in blood. The doors close, and the whispers begin. Shadows stretch long across the chamber. Some bow, some hesitate. Do you obey or command? The question lingers. Each decision, each word, pulls her deeper. The girl fades. The ruler emerges. Cold iron bars creak under restless hands. The air is thick with the scent of stone and damp regrets. A voice, low and unwavering, cuts through the silence. I will return. Stronger. Fingers tighten into fists. The vow hardens like steel. Dust swirls as weary feet stumble forward. Hands beat against iron gates. Desperate cries echo. My daughters! Guards move without mercy. The force of their hands sends him to the ground. The towering mansion looms beyond reach. The voice softens. Barely a whisper. They are gone. The ink of a contract dries. Gold exchanges hands. Another voice silenced. Another tie severed. The weight of the throne no longer feels heavy. Each deal, each betrayal, sculpts a heart of stone. The past is a distant thing, buried beneath the rise of something colder. A name spreads like wildfire. Fear follows. Respect kneels. She is no longer questioned, no longer tested. The whispers speak of ruthlessness, of a will unyielding. The legacy of the fallen burns bright in her hands. She does not flinch. She does not hesitate. The bars stand empty. The guards search, their torches revealing only emptiness. A single message carved into the stone remains. Soon. The word carries weight, a promise whispered in the dark. The night swallows its secret. A name climbs the walls of the city, a new force, untouchable, unseen. Wealth flows, power bends, a face shrouded in mystery. But the eyes, familiar, piercing. The grand hall pulses with tension. Eyes meet, locked in recognition. A smirk, a challenge. Did you miss me, sister? Empty hands tremble. The wind howls. But no voice answers the question that lingers in the air. The weight of choices made, of roads taken, presses down like an unseen force. Wealth glitters. But what good is gold when the heart is hollow? A kingdom was built, but at what cost? Love, family, blood, sacrificed on the altar of ambition. 2 daughters, stripped of childhood, dressed in robes not of their choosing. They were led forward, voices silent, feet steady. Pick, they were told. But the choice had been made long before. Fate had already cast its lot. Power is a chain, each link bound by fear. One hand grips it now, steady and firm. The same whispers that once haunted the halls return, curling like smoke in the dark. It is the way of the world. The weight of the crown is heavier than expected. Obede ruled with an iron fist. The new ruler's grip is no softer. 2 paths, once one, now divide. A throne, a prison. One rises, unshaken, untouchable. The other waits, sharpening the blade of patience. Reflections stare back, eyes filled with lessons learned too late. They were children once, laughing, running, dreaming. Now, one is the storm, the other the fire. Time shifts, but the game does not change. Names fade, yet the wheel keeps turning. Hands reach for power, only to be swallowed by it. The past does not sleep, nor does revenge. The cycle turns again, waiting for the one who dares to break it. Who will shatter the chains? Who will rewrite the tale? The wind carries no answer.